coming up to the very last set that I'm pulling before I get to go load all this stuff onto trailers and go home and see Mama. Last set of the season, and it looks empty. Last set, got the feathers, cat collectors down in there. Number 4 was waiting to do its job, but it didn't work out. Am I sad that I'm leaving Texas? You know, in a way I am, in a way I'm not. When I get to come on these adventures, and that's what these are when I go on these trips, I've got some amazing memories. And this is not a how-to video at all. This is a you need to get off your ass and go live life a little bit type video right here. I come down to Texas. I've had good food when Norm cooked. I've had bad food when I've cooked. Poor Albert losing weight by the tonnage down here. I've got to see some amazing scenery, some sunrises. The stars are so bright out here at night you almost need sunglasses on because there's nothing out here. I've seen illegal aliens. I've seen Border Patrol. Hadn't been pulled over by the police since I've been down here, so that's good. Taking close to 500 animals, over 170 cats on this trip. But you know the most important thing about these trips, guys, or girls, it's not the money that you make while you're on these trips. It's really not. And it's not the fur that you get to bring home. That's really not either. You want to know the absolute gift that trappers have that most people don't get? It's the adventure of seeing many different things on many different scales. When I first showed up here, it was 90 something degrees. It dropped down to 30 and I shivered like a little dog, and now it's back up to about 85. I'm feeling okay right now, but I'm loading everything up and I'm getting ready to go back home. And am I sad about leaving Texas? In a way. I do like the food down here. I miss my wife terribly, so in that part I'll take my wife every time. But there's gonna be a new adventure. There's always a new adventure for a trapper. Every one of those adventures has been exactly what it has. It always rainbows and lollipops and everything's falling in place. No, I can tell you I've been kicking between the legs more than I care to count. You know, people think, well, Clint's this great professional trapper because, you know, people want my autograph and stuff because they see me on video. Dude, I ain't seen a bobcat in 4 days and I'm still having a blast down here. Not so much not seeing bobcats, we're catching other stuff. I'm getting to learn a lot more about Albert. I've talked to some of the guides down here about different things. We started using conibears in the fence. Man, we're like world record armadillo catchers right now. They couldn't believe that we could still tag this many armadillos after 4 weeks being here. We're like on a new level of trapping with armadillos. It's just a great thing to be able to go and do these things. So if you're not taking advantage of your trapping DNA and your American DNA, for goodness sake, quit making excuses. Quit thinking you got to be a grown-up all the time. Sometimes life is just for living. So go live it. You'll enjoy it. And you'll have memories after all the money's gone, after you sell the fur, after all that is gone. The memories and the experience and the people you get to meet and the sights you get to have seen. Unfortunately, most people in America live in a cage and they never ever get to experience. Don't be one of those people. You're a trapper. Now go act like it. What am I going to do after this trip? That's going to be pretty simple. I'm going to go on another adventure. Me and my wife are going to go down to the Gulf Coast. She's going to sit out on the beach. I'm going to work on some website stuff, and at night I'm going to go do what predators do, and I'm going to start loading the cooler up with some delicious shark steaks. While everybody else is sleeping, I'm going to be harvesting. That is what we do as trappers. We're harvesting all the time. The adventures down here. I've got to listen to Albert last night. We finally got all our cats put up. We're sitting out on the pad. The sun's going down. It's an amazing sunset. The wind's blowing. We got borax and ticks and fleas all over us. We're drinking a cold beer, and he's telling me about what it was like to raise fox. And then on some of the adventures he went on, where he went up to New York, and he's sitting in New York, basically a hillbilly and his redneck friend sitting in New York with about 10 grand worth of fur. Now this was back in the 80s now, and they're trying to figure out how to peddle these fur and all the stuff they got into, and running in with the waitress over how much ham they needed to eat in New York, and all the place he's doing. Being out in Montana where he's with a friend of his, and every time his friend sees a a coyote, he just takes off across the field. They've got a dog in the back. Dog knows what coyotes are. It's barking, it's screaming, guns flying all over the place. They're trying to stick a barrel out the window in Montana, shoot a coyote. People don't get to live that way. What are you waiting for if you don't gonna get on one of these adventures? The nursing home? They don't let you do this stuff in the nursing home. What are you waiting for? You're too sick and too old to go do something? We're all getting older. Go live a little bit, for goodness sake. If you're a trapper, you've got some DNA in you that most people do not understand and cannot recognize the power that is. You've got the same DNA as the mountain man that went off across America to lands unknown, skinning beaver, eating beaver tail, and fighting Indians, and coming back and having a good time at a rendezvous. That's what living was, and that's what living is. For some reason, in our culture, we're told we've got to be grown up. Having fun is childish. Going having adventures is something you do on a 3-day weekend or a 1-week vacation. Screw that right there. Don't listen to that nonsense. Life is for living. Trapping will give you more excitement and more downs and more sideways emotions than you'll ever feel. Sometimes I feel like these trips, we're at an AC/DC concert on the first row, and some of them I feel like we're at a Jamie Johnson's concert where he's just wailing and gnashing of teeth. It goes from all over these emotions, but the adventures of it. Tonight we're going to go into town. We're going to talk with Scott Adams. He's trapping another ranch down here. Since I've been down here, I've got to share the trap line with 2 guys from Georgia, 2 guys from Maine, 1 from Pennsylvania, 1 from Mississippi, 2 from Pennsylvania, 1 from Ohio, 1 from Australia, and Trapper Chick from Arkansas. Got to experience and run traps with every one of them, had a good time, shared stories. You just can't get that in the real world because the real world's not real. That's the thing about this. When you're out here, this is real. You're doing what you're supposed to do as a predator, and that's take stuff. Now that brings up a good point. You're going to have a lot of people that's going to give you a hard time about a trapper, so do yourself a favor. The next time you see a smoked open hippie that thinks he knows what nature is, go up and give him a hug. Tell them that it's not their fault that they're so moronic and ignorant about nature. Their parents just fed them way too much tofu and it screwed with their head. You forgive them, and then you can go about your way, and you've done a good thing for the day. So that's another adventure you can have as a trapper. You can actually stand up and be a man about what you do and be proud of it to anybody you meet. So if you've never been on one of these trips, my question to you is why specifically. I want an answer why you can't do that. You know, you have kids, you have a job, you have bills, so does everybody else that does this, guys. I hate to bust your bubble. You know, we're coming back on this trip with a bad economy the way it is. We're coming back with about 28 grand of just cats. That's not counting any other money we've made down here getting paid on jobs. That's just cats. That's grown-up money. That's real world grown-up money doing something that is actually fun instead of going to a cubicle cage somewhere and just typing on a keyboard all day. I'm out here in the sun. I'm probably going to get skin cancer because I'm blistered and peeling like a lizard right now. We've been ate up by fleas. We've been ate up by ticks. I've been stung by bees, wasps. I've bled all over the place from mesquite thorns and cactus. I've had a blast down here. These adventures, because when all the money's gone, all of the fur sold, everything that you dream about when it comes to trapping, when all that is gone, the memories, the cowboy memories that you can have from being out here with nature, truly being part of nature, being organic, free range, wild fur farmer, the way God intended it to be. Well, there's going to be some sexy 7-foot blonde going to be wearing my bobcats, showing off to somebody that she thinks is important and it's really not. But that allows me to have these adventures because that blonde Russian over there needs to have a coat to look awful sexy, and I'm glad to give her that product because I'm out here totally in nature, seeing things and hearing things. I mean, I've seen 1,000 roadrunners since I've been down there. How many of y'all ever seen a roadrunner? I've seen rattlesnakes as big as my arm. I've seen blue indigos twice as big as my arm and pushing 7 feet. I've got Norm is over in south of Louisiana right now. Never been in that part of the country trapping. He's trapping on levees. He's eating crawfish every day, making me jealous because he's sending me these text pictures about how good that is. When Norm was down here, we're eating bobcat, we're eating beaver, we're eating venison, we're eating wild hog. We're being free. We're being what trappers are supposed to do. So if you've never experienced something like this, for goodness sake, figure out a way to make it happen. You're an American. You're a trapper. Go do something that gives you something besides just a paycheck and something to do from Monday to Friday, and oh my God, I've got to go do this all over again. Don't live that way if you don't have to. And brother, you don't have to. No matter what anybody tells you, you can make grown-up money doing childish things as far as this goes, because it's possible with the work ethic and the knowledge behind it. Take these adventures, enjoy these adventures. I mean, I've trapped in, I think it's, last time I counted, it was like 24, 27 states. I've been ran all over the Delta in Mississippi by a corrupt game warden, which has since been fired and I believe is in prison. Couldn't happen to a better guy. I've chased lizards and fought off water moccasins and alligators in Louisiana. I've sit there and fought ice storms in the Ozarks. I've been up in Missouri when the mud was so deep I couldn't hardly even get out of the truck because I was falling over, and we had to take coyotes down to the car wash to even see what color they were, and so we could skin them. I've trapped marten in Alaska. I've snared red fox up there. I've called up there. I've trapped beaver in the swamps of of Florida. I've been trapping so close to people in Maryland with Randy Smith that we could almost talk to them while they're flipping burgers and we're setting traps on private property next to their grill. The adventures you have while you go out and you do with that little piece of DNA in every free trapping American has, it is a beautiful thing. Now, I've got to go pack the trailer because I'm going home to spend some quality time with my wife. We're going to go down to Florida. And then after that, I believe the next adventure we've got, as far as together, is we're going to Maine, because I've heard, don't tell anybody, but I've heard there's a bay up there that's loaded with muskrats, and if a person knows what he's doing, he can probably slam about 100 otter in a month. Now that sounds like an adventure. Go find your own adventure. Go live a little bit. It's a great world out here if you take advantage of it. Well, time for me to go load the truck, drive about 1,400 miles back, stopping on the way to pick up some caster from Donnie Grafton. Gonna try to get him to do a radio interview. If not, that's okay. I'm gonna pick up my caster and I'm gonna haul tail to home. So I've got a beautiful wife. I've got 2 cats that are just gonna ignore me for about a week when I get back probably, and Daisy, my black-mouthed cur, I can't wait to pet her hair off. Take advantage of it, guys. Go take your adventure, build those memories, because that's what it's all about. This is Clint Locklear, and I'm leaving Texas. Till next year.
Please allow me to adjust my pants so that I may dance the good time dance and put the onlookers and innocent bystanders into a trance.